Good day, everyone, and welcome to today's class. And today we are going to be looking at foreign what? We are going to be looking at foreign subsidiary. We are going to be looking at what foreign subsidiary. This is one aspect of what of group account from the professional level. So meaning now that some of us that are moving from the skills level down to the final level now. This is going to be what? This is going to be new to us. And it is very, very simple, but you need to be careful of one thing. And one thing that you need to be careful of is the currency. Is the what? Is the currency. Just like you can see now, we are starting with question one now, being this is the one, this is the first class. Look at it now. You can see that the currency are not the same. You have the word the parent. You can see this one is like $A. You have the word the next one to be $B. Then you also have another one to also be what to be $A as well. So meaning now that the entity A and C, they are the same. Their currency is what is the same. And they say extract from the statement of financial one. A, its subsidiary is B and its associate is what is C. So A is the parent. So you can see now that our subsidiary is what? Our subsidiary is, let me say, is located in another jurisdiction because its currency is not what? It's not the same. Its currency is not what? It's not the same. So this is the word, this is the P or L. This is also the word, the statement of what? The statement of financial position. It's just a word, just a one-page word. It's just a one-page question. Now, one of my first thing that I would like to please beg you of, and let me call it what rule number one, is that try as much as possible to know the words. Try as much as possible from the onset for you to know the words. Let me say the best performing currency, the most valuable currency among the two. There are two things that you're going to do to the subsidiary. Is either you are going to to divide or you're going to multiply. Is either you're going to divide or you're going to multiply. One of the first thing that you have to do now, once you construct your group structure, the next thing that you have to do now is for you to do what? Is for you to now convert the subsidiary currency to the parent currency. And that one can even be your working one, sir, because it is easy for you at this level to determine the group structure. So let's even stick with that. The first working you do the group structure. Then the next thing you do, you translate the word. You translate the subsidiary to the foreign or the subsidiary currency. You convert it to the what? To the parent currency. So if you want to do this word now, translation of the subsidiary to the parent, there are two things that you're going to do, basically. Is either you are going to multiply or you are going to what? You are going to divide. So I'm not going to give you a standing rule on this thing. But one thing that I will try as much as possible to advise you is look at it very well. This is it. They say the relevant exchange rate is as follow. So this is the relevant exchange rate as at this particular as at this particular cut of date. They say on 1st of October 2007. So they say $1 is equal to what? To B is 0.5000. So meaning now that one A, $1 is equal to what? $B 0.5000. So meaning that 1A is equal to what is 0.5B. So meaning now that the subsidiary currency is more valuable than the what than the parent. And that is the first thing I want you to please try as much as possible to do. This is the rule number one. You need to try as much as possible to know the most valuable currency among the two. So from here now, they say one, meaning that one currency, $1 is equal to what is 0.5B. Literally now is the subsidiary currency is more valuable than the what? Than the parent. So once you know that, once you know that, the next thing now is think of something. You don't need to think of, okay, are you going to divide or you're going to multiply? One logic that you can always what? One logic that you can always use is this. One logic that you can always use is what is this? You know, the revenue of the subsidiary now is showing 2,000. The revenue of the subsidiary is now is 2,200. And you have determined now that the subsidiary currency is more valuable than than the parent, than A. So meaning now that if I convert this B 2,200 now, if I convert this 2,200B to A, it will be more than 2,000. So you can be having like 2,300. You can be having like 2,400, 2,005. I hope you understand that. So if I first of all what make mention, let's do something. This is P or L. And in statement of profit or loss, you are going to translate it at average rate. Statement of profit or loss will be translated at what? At average rate. Statement of profit or loss will be translated at what? At average rate. So what is the average rate? The average rate is what? Is 0.6500. And we have determined now that the subsidiary currency is more valuable than the what? Than the parent. So meaning now that if I translate this word 2,200 to $8, it will be more than 2,200. So let's say, for example, now you can say, okay, let me even test run something. You know your answer already now. Your answer is that if you convert this 2,000 word, 2,200 to the parent, it must be more than 2,200. So if I say what now, 2,200 multiplied by 0.65, you can see I'm having 1,000 words for 10. 1,000 what for 30. So meaning now that this is wrong. In that situation, I need to do what now? I need to divide. So meaning it will now be 2,200 divided by what? 0.65. So you can see that I'm having what? 3,384. So 0.62. That is the logic. Don't memorize anything. You don't need to worry. You just need to learn one simple thing and leave it. Don't stress yourself. The first thing is you need to determine the most valuable currency. You need to determine the most valuable currency. It's already given that, oh, one of your own currency, 1A is equal to 0.5 of B. So meaning now that B is more valuable. So if it is more valuable, and your revenue is what now? This is 2,200. You can say I'm repeating it again because don't make this mistake. Don't memorize anything. The first thing for my own Loma layman, my own word layman, just try as much as possible. Determine the most valuable. Once you determine the most valuable currency, the next thing that you now need to think of now, okay, well, if this 2,200 now, which is in B currency, And B currency is more higher than what? Than A. So by the time I convert this particular money to what now? To A, it will be more than 2,200. So if we first of all say that, okay, 2,200 multiplied by 0.65, you're doing this, you're having 1,000 what? 430. You can see that is wrong. That is wrong. So what I need to do now is, because my answer should be more than 2,200. Since B is more valuable than A, B currency is more valuable than what? Than A. So meaning now that is like, for example, now, let's say I'm moving from what now? From dollar to naira. So if I'm moving from dollar to naira, if I'm moving from what? From dollar to naira now. Naira, dollar. Dollar is more worth, is more valuable than naira. So if someone have 4,000, or let's just say $1,000 now, by the time you convert it to naira, it will be higher than 1,000 naira. That's just it. So the first thing you need to do is determine the most valuable. Oh, naira is more valuable. The subsidiary is more valuable. The parent is more valuable. So if that is the case, then it would now determine your next action. Let's look at question two. Let's look at this question two now. They say 1 crown, crown to what? From $8 to crown. So who is using A? HM is the what is the parent. You can see HM acquire 80% of what? Or a foreign entity, OX. And this is their currency. So here now is one what? One 1A is equal to what? C 1.58. So in this situation now, the parent currency is more valuable than the subsidiary. The parent currency is more what? Is more valuable. So meaning now that the subsidiary is reporting 4.5. If the subsidiary is reporting 4.5 now, by the time I convert it to the parent, it will be lower. The subsidiary is reporting what now? 4.5. By the time you convert it to the what? To the parent, it will be lower. It's not going to be what? 4.5 again. You can be having 3,000. You can be having 4,000. So when the parent currency is more valuable than the subsidiary, when the parent currency is more valuable than the subsidiary, by the time you change this word 4,500 back to what? To the parent, it will be lower. Because the parent is more what? The parent is more valuable. The parent currency is more valuable than the what? Than the subsidiary. So what I will just do here now is, if I have what? Let me just say this one is 1.58. If I say 1.45 multiply by what? 1.58. What are you having? You are having 7,001. You can say that is wrong. Because now I need to do what now? Since you have determined that the what? The parent currency is more valuable than the what? Than the subsidiary. So by the time I convert this 4,500 now to the parent, it will be a lower amount. That's just one primary school knowledge that you can use if you don't want to stress yourself. So since I'm expecting that, oh, by the time I convert this word 4.5 now down to back to the parent, it will be what now? It will be lower. So I need to change it to what now? To division. So it's now going to be 4,500, then divided by what? 1.58. So you can see I'm having what? 2,000 what? 848 now. So that is the right thing. So don't have one generic view of what you multiply. Oh, if you see this thing, mm, my own primary school knowledge than what I want to translate to. And I'm sure that some of us, you're advanced, but there are some things that you just need to learn it from the grassroots and forget about what any other stuff that can come up. The first thing Determine the most valuable currency. In this question too now, the parent currency is more valuable than the what? Than the subsidiary. So what will happen now is by the time you convert the what? The 4-5 to the parent, it will be a lower amount. And in the question one, the what? The the parent, the subsidiary currency is more valuable than the what? Than the parent. So meaning now that if I convert this 2,200 now to the parent currency, it will be more than 2,800. Since the subsidiary currency is more than the parent, the subsidiary currency is more valuable than the what? Than the parent. So by the time you convert this 2,200 now to the parent currency, it will be higher. So that is what I will just say on. So the P or L, you translate it at what? You translate it at the average rate. Asset and liability at closing rates. P or L at what? P or L at average rate. Asset and liability at what? Asset and liability at closing rate. P or L, P or L is equal to what? Average what? Average rate. So asset and what? Asset and liability at what? At closing rate. Then the third one is equity. Equity, look at equity at what? Acquisition what? Acquisition rate. Equity at what? At acquisition rate. But be careful about the word, the equity, especially when you have what? Let's say, for example, now you have like a revaluation reserve. So if you have a revaluation reserve, or maybe sometimes they'll call it, yeah, maybe other comprehensive income, other component, you need to be careful. You need to check the date. Like, for example, there's one particular question here, and the question is this. Look at this question now. You can see you have revaluation reserve in the subsidiary part, and the revaluation reserve is what now? Is 90. So you need to be careful. You need to check the additional information that this revaluation reserve, what date does it occur? You are interested about the date. Whenever you have revaluation reserve, or they say other reserve, or they'll say other component, you need to be very, very what? You need to be very, very careful. So you need to go to the body of the question and check if any. This 90,000 that you report now, what happened? What date does it occur? So like for example, this particular one is occur, let's say you purchase and so things happen. So you can see, let's say the building was revalued at 450 on this particular date, and you are preparing account on that date. You can see we are required to prepare the what? The financial statement on 30th of September 2017. 30th of September 2017, and the revaluation occur on this. So if the revaluation occur, that means that this 90 now occur on the day that we are preparing the financial statement, and it's an asset because an asset that was, yeah, the asset has increased. So you need to use the what? The closing what? I will need to use the closing rate for this now. So it's not just because it's part of the equity you're going to use acquisition rate. No, because this reserve, whenever you have other component, please check the question very well. What date? So like for example, now if I want to convert this particular 90,000 now to the parent, I'm going to use the what? We are going to use the closing rate because this is a what? This is a PP that has increased in value. So they have debited the what? The asset, and you have credited your what? Your equity. So this 90,000 need to what? You need to use what? You need to use the closing what? The closing rate. And the closing rate is what? Is 5. This is the closing what? This is the closing rate. All right. This is what? The closing rate. So that is the what? The first thing. Whenever you have what? Maybe revaluation reserve, or sometimes they'll call it other what? Other component. Be careful. Just check what date does that particular what revaluation occur. Just like you can see, The building was professionally valued at 450. So it means that it occurred as at the what the SFP date. So that is that. Don't forget the first thing is what you need to determine the most the valuable currency. Then that will not determine. So this is your what now? This is your step one. Then this is your what? The step two. So the first thing you do is determine the most valuable currency. Is it the parent? Is the parent currency more higher? Is the parent currency more what? More higher than the what? Than the sub? Or the subsidiary is more what? Is more higher? So let's say, for example, now in this what question one that we are talking about. So in question one now, it is the what? The subsidiary what? The subsidiary currency is what? Is more valuable. Is more valuable than the what? Than the parent currency. So meaning and the subsidiary sub what? The sub revenue. The sub revenue is what now? Is 2,200. The average rate, the average rate is what? The average rate is 0.65. Is 0. What? Is 0.65. So if I want to convert back to the what now? If I want to convert back to the parent currency, if I want to convert back to the what? To the parent currency now, it will be what? It will be higher. So in parent, so don't stick with any word. Oh, if this thing occur, you divide. If this one you do, you multiply. No. It should be the word, the case, the question that you are presented should be the one that will drive you on whether you are going to multiply or you are going to what you are going to divide. So since you have determined now that the subsidiary currency is more valuable than the parent. So if the subsidiary is reporting what 2,200 now, you need to listen to this video carefully. If the subsidiary is reporting what 2,200 now, and you have determined now that the parent, the subsidiary is more valuable. So meaning now that I am expecting more than what? I am expecting more than 2,200. Since my word now. So since my subsidiary, the subsidiary currency is more what? Since the subsidiary currency is more valuable than the parent. So by the time I convert this 2,200 now back to the parent, it will be higher than 2,200. So if you first of all say that, okay, maybe don't even cram anything. I say what? Multiply by 0.65. Then I'm having 1,140. Then it means that what? Something is or something is wrong. Because since the subsidiary, by the time I move the subsidiary currency back to the parent, it should be what? It should be higher. Because the subsidiary word currency is more valuable than the word than the parent. So I need to change my way now by doing the multiplication. I mean, sorry, by what you doing the division. I mean, just say these 2,000 divided by what is 0.65. So I'm having what now? 3,385. So let's just approximate it. So it will now be what now? 2,200 divided by what is 0.65. Then you are having what? 3,385. So that is the word, that is the logic. That is what that is the logic. First of all, determine the most valuable currency. So I have determined the most valuable currency in this question one now that it is the what? It is the parent. It is the what? Sorry, it is the subsidiary. The most valuable currency in this case now, it is the what? It is the subsidiary. So if the subsidiary is reporting what 2,200, by the time I convert it to the what to the parent, it will be what? It will be higher. All right. So your next step is now going to what? Either you're going to do what now? Multiply or you're going to divide. And I'm not going to give you what is setting that, oh, if this thing occur, do it this way. No, don't cram anything. Just learn some primary school stuff, then you work with it. All right. So the first thing, determine the valuable currency. Oh, the parent is more valuable than the subsidiary. So if the parent is more valuable and the subsidiary is reporting what, let's say 3,000, or if you look at question two now, in question two, so let me also do that as well. In question two now, in question two, sub what? The sub revenue. The sub revenue is what? The sub revenue is for five. The average rate. The average rate is what? The average rate is 1.58. Hold on, please. 1.58, 1.58. So, and most valuable currency, most valuable currency in what? In question two now is the what? Is the parent. So if the parent currency is more what? Is more valuable and the subsidiary is reporting what? 4.5. So by the time I convert it back to the parent now, it will be lower. It's just like, for example, now you have Naira, the subsidiary is using Naira and the parent is using dollar. So if the subsidiary is saying that my revenue is what is 4.5 and is in Naira, by the time you convert it to what to now to dollar, it will be less than $4,500. Since the parent currency is more valuable, and this one is in what is in Naira. By the time you convert this what now, by the time you convert this 4.5 to dollar, it will be lower. So what am I expecting now? By the time I move this 4.5 to what? To the parent. So you can first of all do something in the exam within the 15 minutes that will be given to you to read. So if I say what? Just do something. This divided by this, then I divide it by what? 1.58. Then that's 22848. 2848. So let's even say, for example, you multiply first. Let's say you multiply by saying 4.5, then multiply by what? Multiply by 1.58. No, you'll be having a higher figure. You can see you're having 7,000 stuff now. So it means that it is what? It is wrong. Because since the parent currency is more valuable than the subsidiary. So whatever the parent is is bringing, by the time you convert it to the parent currency is going to be a lower amount. So that is how you should be able to to pick something. All right, cool. So let's now go to the main stuff, which is question what one. So we are asked to prepare this. So one of the first thing you need to first of all do is you need to determine your group structure. So the first thing you do whenever you're given any group account question is what, and if I'm lucky enough that I'm your what, maybe I am the one that take you, some of you at your at your financial reporting level, then you can all remember the consistency, even at FR level. Then the first thing we do is do what is determine your group structure. So that should be the what that should be the first thing you are going to do. So we'll go now by saying the group structure. So just draw one simple arrow, don't make it too what, don't make it so complicated. So the parent, you have what? 80%. So 80, 40. So in the sub, you have what now? 80%. And the NCR here will be what? 20 what? 20%. We also have the what? The parent what? The parent holding in what? In associates. The parent holding in associates is what? Is 40. Then, if we all remember, one thing I usually do is from this working one is to also determine the what? The gap. To determine the what? The gap. The gap is just the what? The difference between the what? The data you acquire and the data you are preparing the account. So gap in what now? In sub. What is the data you acquire and what is the data you are preparing the account? It will give you the gap. You go back to the words, you go back to the question, when do you acquire? So we are told that what you acquire on 1st of October 2000 and what? And that is my what? That is the independent day in my what? In my country, Nigeria. So 20 what? 20, 2007. And when are we preparing the what? The account? We are preparing the account on what? On 30th of September 2010. 30th 09 20 what? 2010. So what is the gap? So to 8, 9, 10. So this is what now? 3 years. Then you can also do the same thing for the what? For the associate as well. This one you acquire in what? In 2005. So gap is just the what? The difference between the data you acquire and the data you are preparing the what? The financial statement. You what? We are going to need that. Very, very important, especially when we are preparing our what? Our statement of financial position. So I can also do here and say gap in what? In associates. So this is DOA. And DOA means what? Date of acquisition. DOA means what? Date of acquisition. So you acquire in what? On 1st of October 2000 and what? 2007. So 1/10/20 what? 2005. And we are preparing account in 30th of what? This 2010. So automatically this one is what? This one is, I think it's 5 years back. So I think that is all about the what? The force working, which I always would advise every one of us was to do. Just determine the what? The group structure. This is the percentage, then this is the gap. Then the first thing that we are now going to do is the next one now, which is our working what now, is to do the what? Is to do the what? We need to do the translation. Translation of what? B. What do they call this? Statement of comprehensive income. So it's it's a very long process, but it's very, very simple. So I can still remember this one to be 2,200. Then the cost of what? The cost of sales was that. Okay, the cost of sales and operating expenses 37. Right, the average rate is what? 0.65. Don't forget that. Can't remember that. Then you get your what? Your profit before tax. This 600. Then you do your what? Your income tax. which is 150. Let's check. The income tax, oh sorry, the income tax is, yeah, so 600 is 450. So this is the what now? The profit. This is the profit after tax of what? Of 450. Is there OCI? There's also what? OCI of 120. We also have OCI of what? OCI of 120. So, and what is itself? Which is on revaluation. So OCI, so revaluation of what? Of PPE. That is 120. So this is 3385. This is, can always what, back me up as well in case there's any mistake. It's always confirm. I'm not above that. Can't make mistake. 5692. Can see what am I doing? This is, we say 37. Is this 37? Or am I wrong? This is 16. Delete. This is 16. So please check, follow me because once you have made mistake from the beginning. So you have what? You have 16 and you say 16 divided by what? 0.65. Then that's 2462. 2462. And this and this, that would be 9. This should be 231. Then this should be 692. Don't forget this is 0.65. Okay. All right. So that's that. You have what? 0.65, and my calculator here, this is 85. Then the total what? The total comprehensive income. Total comprehensive income. Please write it what? Write it full in the exam. This is what? This and this. That's 570. And this is 877. So that is a what? The first thing that you need to do. This is the income statement. This is the word, the income statement. This is the income statement. So let's just finish this one working, then we'll move to statement of what? The statement of financial position. So let's prepare the what? The first thing. So I can prepare the what? The solution for what now? For the statement of financial position. I'll be sorry for the income statement. So I think that is like the requirement what, okay, they are together, not shall. So prepare the consolidated and the SFP. So let's use this opportunity to prepare what. And I think I support Chelsea. So let me see if the blue color will also be good here. So this is the word. Oh, it's cool. So this is the word, the statement of what I support Chelsea, and Chelsea is the best team in the world. Statement of what? Statement of profit. Statement of profit or loss, and what? And other comprehensive income. another comprehensive what income for the year ended, for the year ended 30th September 2010. So this is in $8, and you can always write it at the top as well. This is what's the name of the parent? Sorry. This is a group. So the first line item, revenue. So you go back, what is the revenue of the parent? This one is 46. Then I can see that what 3,085. Then go to what? To the cost of what? Cost of sales. Cost of sales and what? And expenses. The parent one is 37. So you're not taking that one again, no. 37. You take the translation plus 2462. And you can always write this so that you can show where it is coming from. So I can just clean this. So you can just write working to so that people will know, okay, this is where I'm getting my words. This is working to. This is also what working to. So you can just put that there. So let me continue with the blue is the color. So this is 7, Abby. This was this. That should be okay. This is 7,985. Then you remove this is 3 plus that's 6,126. Then you get your what? Let me zoom down. Your profit before tax. So you do your profit before tax. And one very important thing is, there's an associate here. So whenever you have what, whenever you have associates, whenever you have what, whenever you have associates, you need to what, you need to, don't forget something. So let me just what, let me do something which is very, very important. Don't forget, there's associates here. So the next thing that you're not going to do now is to now have a what, we're not going to bring in something which is, let's do it first because I don't know whether it's going to be a loss or it's going to be a profit. So if you look at the what, the associate is having a what, a profit of what, of 400. And we have what, we have 40, I think so. We have 40% there. We have what, we have 40% in that what, we have 40% in that associate. So the profit for the year is what now? The profit for the year in this associates, you can even split it into two. And this is what I'm saying. I'm going to have a working now. And I'm going to call that what? We are going to call that working 3. So in working 3 now, what I want to do now is I want to do the share, and it's a profit. So I can write here as well, share of what? Share of profit. So the share of profit now is, I can say profit what? Profit after tax. We have 40% there. 40 divided by 100. Then you go back. It is 400 and OCI is 70. And thank God, the examiner is not making it complicated for you by saying that the associate also have another currency. So you can see now that the currency of the word of the parent and the associate is what is the same. So let's say the examiner wants to play with you by what? Giving you another currency. So meaning now that you have to do what? You have to convert before you take these words, you take the profit, but it is the same now, so there's no problem. What I'm saying now is, what about if this one is not $8? What about if the associate is not $8, is in another currency? Then you do it the way you what you just finish what working to, so but it is the same, so there's no problem. So 0.4 of this is 160. Then I also work total on OCI, the other word, other comprehensive income. I'm also going to share from that as well, and which is what? Which is 70. Other comprehensive income is what? 40 divided by 100 multiplied by 70. So that is 28. Then you had everything together. So this is, and one thing that we can always do, so we know the word now, we know the total work, we know the total profit. So one thing that we can do is I can just do this, but for accounting purpose, you need to split it. So this is 188, but that is not the 188 I'm going to take, shall. So you first of all split it as well. So I will take what now? I will take 160 to the POL, then I'll take 28 to what? To OCR. So here is now going to be what now? Share of what? Share of associate what? Associate profit. And that's coming from what? From working three. And that is 160. So before we now arrive at our what? Our profit before what? Profit before tax. So I even made mistakes here. But let's go now, Sha. So you could have determined the operating profit first. When you say what? Oh, but there's no what is the problem. So you can still say these 9 points plus, I'll be sorry, plus 160, I'll be then minus 6162. So this is 1983. Then we have what? We have the tax. We go back. The tax of the parent is what? Is 200. It's 200. So what is the tax that is in your working two? That's 231. I can see that 231 working two. So this one is simple for my brain. That should be 431. Then you have your what? Your profit afterwards, your profit after tax, your profit afterward, your profit after tax. What you are now going to do now, your profit after tax is now going to be 1552. Then we can now go to what now? Other what? Other comprehensive what? Other comprehensive income. So in other comprehensive income, what are we now going to do? Is don't forget, which is very, very important, that we just finished in working three now. Share of what? Share of associate what? So you bring it here. Share of associate OCI, write it in full, working three, and that is that 28. And the 28, then I can even work now. One thing that we can do, yes, we're not going to say what? Revaluation gain. The revaluation. So you can see now that the parent is having 200. So it's not going to be what now? 200 plus your working two. You can see the subsidiary also have, and it is 85. It is what? It is 85, sorry, 185. 185, which is coming from working two. So if we add this together, now that should be 3 what? 385. Then what else? You now need to do something, and that is one of the words, the most important thing that you are going to do so far. It's very complicated, so please listen what, listen very well. Listen what, listen very, very well at this word, at this junction. And that is what we used to call what? We used to call it what? Gain on foreign words, foreign subsidiary words translation. Gain or loss on translation of what? Foreign subsidiary. So that would not be my working word now. That would be the working for. And please, people of God, you need what? I need your attention on that particular area. So let's go to what now? Let's go to working for. And the working for is very, very what? Is very, very important. So this is my working for. Please pay attention to this. And it requires some certain format. And the format is, how can I word? This is the word. This is the format. I'm going to what? Let me show you guys the words. Let me show you guys the format. Please give me some words. Give me some few seconds. Let me show you guys the format. Just hold on. Please, just give me some word. Just give me some few seconds. So this is the one now. This is the format. So we call it what? We call it exchange word. It's very, very complicated. So please, I will need your attention here. Exchange gain slash loss on what? On trans of what? Of foreign operation. So this is the format. The format goes like this. By saying closing what? Closing net assets. Closing net assets at closing rates. And it should be in what? It will be in the parent currency. Okay? It will be in the what? The parent currency. The next thing that you're not going to do, you're not going to say less what? Less opening net assets. Opening net assets. At what? At opening rates. Then the next thing you're not going to say what? Less what? Profit for the year. Profit for the what? For the year. At what? At average rates. At average rates. Then the last one, gain, gain, gain or loss, gain or loss on what? On goodwill. So whatever you have, that is your what? That is your exchange what? That is your exchange gain or loss. That's your exchange gain or what? Or loss on translation of the what? The foreign subsidiary. Don't forget this format. This is the most important thing that we are discussing so far. The rest are simple now. Just convert at average rate. So this is where the work is. And please try as much as possible to listen now. So digest this format now before we move forward. Put it down, put it down, put it down. I don't want to stress you guys. So before you can do this thing, before you can do this thing, one thing that you have to do is you need to do what now? You need to calculate the goodwill first. Before you can do this thing, you can see the goodwill is there. So before what? You need to calculate what the goodwill, just like the normal goodwill that we know. You need to first of all calculate what the goodwill before you can able to what to do this thing. You need to calculate the what, you need to calculate the goodwill. So my real working for my working for now is going to be the what the goodwill. Why this one will not be my what? My working five. So this one should be my what now? This one should be working what? This one should be working five. Let me delete it off. That we are still coming back to it. So this is just the what, at least this is not even what. So this is just like the what the format. So before you can what, before we can able to do this thing now, so I will now go to the next working. The next working now is not going to be my what. I need to calculate the what the goodwill on acquisition. The goodwill on what? On acquisition. So we now go to working for. Blue is the color. Football is the game. So you're not going to do it now. You're not going to, you're working for. It's not going to be the goodwill. And let me zoom this out a little bit. So some of us, let's put it at 80. So that should be the what? Your next what? That should be your next action. Your next course of action is to what? Is to determine the what? The goodwill. Just like the normal way we roll, you are going to say what? In B, you say the rate, and you are going to do the what? The A. So the parent cost. I know you acquire what? You acquire, I think, is it not how many percent? You acquire 80% for how much? For 5,200. So it is 5,200 in your own words, in your own currency. You cannot walk back now. What is the acquisition rate? They say the acquisition rate is what? Is 0.5. Because you know already, goodwill, you are going to do what? Goodwill is calculated on the day that you acquire. Goodwill is calculated on the date of what? Of acquisition. So on the date of acquisition and the currency is what? Is 0.5. So this is what now is 0.5. And you can remember now that the parent what? That the subsidiary currency is more valuable than the parent. The subsidiary currency is more valuable than the parent. So this is the parent now. The parent is 5.2. So by the time I move to the subsidiary now, it will be lower. The parent is what? 5,200. But the subsidiary currency is more what? Is more valuable than the what? Than the parent. So don't cram anything. So let's test run something. I can say what now? Let's say I do multiplication first, 5,200. Then I multiply by what now? Is 0.50. You can say I'm having 2.6. If I have a higher amount now, I will know that I'm wrong. So here now is what? 2,000 what? 600. Then what about the what? The other guy, NCI? Is it gaming? So is the NCI giving? Need to check. And if it is not giving, we need to calculate it. Okay, look at additional information 5. They say the group policy is to value non-controlling interest at fair value. So the fair value in what? Interest in B is 600. So it is 600. That's cool. So 600, 0.5. So this is 600. So 600 now is like you multiply it by what? By 2. That would be 1, 2. So you get your what? Your purchase what? Your purchase consideration. This is this. This plus this. What's that much now? That's two what? No, that should be three two. Abi, let me do it so that you know so that I'll see where I picking the figure from. So this plus this. That's three two. Then you can also add this one will be 6 4 Abi. Let's see what let's do it together. So this is 5,002 plus 1 2. So this is 6 4. Then you're not going to say what? Less net asset. Net asset at what? At DOE. So what you can do now is basically this is what they will have. I need the what? This is 1,000. Yeah, this one will not change. Then what is their retained earning? You can see when the reserve were 1/8. When the reserve were what? 1/8. So it means now that the ordinary share is what? 1,000. Then the retained earning, which what did they call it? The retained earning here is 1/8 when you acquire. So this is 1,800 and you add the two together. This is what now? Two what? Abi. Then you move it to acquisition rate 0.5. So this minus this. If you say 2, this should be 3.6. So if I say what now? What you do so that everybody will see. If I say 2,800 multiplied by what? 0.50. I'll be sorry. It's like I want to double it. So you can see now. You can even see what I'm doing now. I say that what? Okay, 2,800 divided by what? I'll be sorry, multiplied by 0.5. So you can see now we are having what now? We're having 1/4. So which is wrong? Because any currency, any amount that the subsidiary is what is reporting, by the time I convert it to the what to the parent, it will be higher. So if it is lower now, it just means that what there's something wrong. So and here in this question from the beginning as well, is for you to what to divide it as well, Abi. So you not change. So once I'm moving, I calculate 2,800 in the what in the sub, and we have determined now that the parent or the subsidiary currency is more valuable. The subsidiary currency is more valuable than the what and the parent. So it's like you moving from naira to what to dollar. So the subsidiary is saying what one two, and my currency is more valuable than the what. So if I'm moving from dollar to what to naira now, you have more what now? Few dollar, more naira. So this one is just going to be 2/8. Mm, It's 5/6. So these and this, that should be 400. This and this, that should be 800. Now, you now need to do something. And what you need to do now is that you need to check whether there's an impairment. Let's say no impairment to either investment has occurred. So that's cool. So it means that there's no impairment. So that's what I can close this off. So this is the goodwill at what? Goodwill at acquisition. And there's no impairment up to now as well. So that's fine. So what you now need to do now is you need to determine the gain. That will be the next action now. You need to determine whether there's an FX loss or there's gain. So the next thing that you need to do on that now is what gain slash what loss on what on goodwill. So you need to this question is what this one was acquired in 2007. So what you can just do to make the work pass is I can just look at okay, what do you have last year? For example now, Today is what now? Today is 30th of what? October 20 what? 2010. I can also look at 30th of what? Just do this two alone. Don't stress yourself by doing 3 years. Just do okay. This is 20 what? 2009, and this is what? 2010. So what you need to do is still what? This is still the goodwill. The goodwill is not moving. So as of today, so it is 400 here. It is also 400 here. The only thing that would not remain constant is the rate. The currency is not going to be the same. It's what? The rate will continue to change. You can't have what? Let's say naira to dollar at the beginning of January is this, and by the time you get to December is also the same rate. No, there's always going to be a movement, either upward or downward. So the rate is not going to be what because it's like there's a forces of demand every day now. Market is opening every day. So that force is not also what is in play. So the 400 can still remain the same thing, which is fine, meaning that there's no impairment. That's cool. Then the next thing that will not remain constant is the what is the rate. So what you need to do now is you need to go back and check. As at 31st of September, the currency is what is 0.1. So this is the rate. The rate is what is 0.71. Then as at today, what is it? As at today, goodwill is an asset. Goodwill is what is an asset. Look at the closing rates. It's 0.71 and it's 0.63. So this one is what is 0.63. So how much is it now going to be in what? In $8. So bring calculator here. So this is what now? This is 400. And you divide by what? 0.71. So this one is like 563. 563. Then the next one is what? The next one is 400. And you divide it by what? 0.63. And that is that's 635. 6. So it seems that there's a what now? There's a gain. So there's a gain because I handle with, well, in accounting, if what I end with is greater than what I start with, then there's a profit. So I start with what 5 and I end with what 6, then that's cool. That's a gain. So you just do what 635 minus 563. Then what's your gain? Let's be doing it patiently because where I'm taking you guys to is it's very, very worse. The journey is still long. So 635. Let me cancel 635 minus 563. Then I have 72. So 72 is my what? Is my gain. So I cannot do what now? We cannot do our what now? We cannot do our FS gain on translation. FS gain on what? On translation. So let me zoom this out. So just like what I've make mention earlier, that just like what I've make mention earlier, that this is the format. This is the what? This is the format. So if I want to do the what now? If I want to do the exchange gain or loss so that I can what? I can true so that I will complete what now? I will complete the first requirement, which is to prepare the statement of financial position. Then we can take a what? We can take a break. So what I need to first of all do now is closing net asset. So I need the word the closing net asset. So working what now? This is my working 5. I'm doing it let's say number 5, working 5. I want to do the what? Sometimes we call it the what? The forex. The forex gain slash loss. in the what? In the year. So that is the what? That is the what now. That is what we want to do. So I want you guys to be what? To be seeing the word, the format. I want you guys to be seeing the word, to be seeing the format. So I don't want to move downward like that. I want you guys to be seeing the format. So what's the first item? The first item is you need to do the what? The closing what? The closing net assets. The closing net assets at what? At closing rates. So you need to go back to the what now? You need to go back to the question and check what is my closing net asset. My closing net asset is what? Is 45. You can see 1,000 plus 35, 1,000 plus 35, 1,000 plus 35. So the closing net asset is what? Is 45. So closing net asset at what? At closing rate. So that is 45. Then the closing rate is what? The closing rate is 0.63. Let me take you guys there. This is the closing rate. The closing rate 30th of September 2010 is 0.63. So where is your calculator? If you say what now? 45, then you divide by what now? 0.63. Then that is what? 7,143. 7,143. What's the next step? This is one. Number two is what? Opening what? Opening net assets at what? At opening what? At opening rates. Now I need the word the opening net assets. I need the word the opening net assets. So let's say for example now you start with you end with 45. You end with what? You end with 4,500. So if you end with what? 4,500, which is, you can see now, ordinary share will not change. So I have what now? My retained earning is 1.5. My retained earning is 3.5. My retained earning is what? Is 3.5. You know that the profit for the year is already included, which is this 570. Sorry. The I have what now? Opening net assets at opening rate. So the total now is what? Is 4.5. In this 4.5 now, I need to remove this what? This 570. Because let's say, for example, assuming that there's no trading at all this year, then this my opening could have been what? 4.5 minus what? Minus 570. If there's no what? If there's no trading at all, no business, then you could have what? You could have 3,390. That is your opening. Then what do you now have this year? I have 570. That is now when you're able to have what? You're able to have 4.5. So just say that 4.5 minus 570. That is your opening, your total comprehensive income. What you have in your balance sheet now is your total work, your total equity now is 4,005. Remove the total comprehensive income for this year. It will give you the opening rate. So this is 3,930. Then what is my opening rate? My opening rate is what now? Is 0.71. This is what I start with. I started with what is 0.71. You can see is 0.1. That's what we start with. 0.71. So divide by what? 0.71. So calculator. Divide by the 0.71. Then you have 5,535. 5,535. 5,535. All right. Then number three, is a less profit for the year at average rate. So profit for the what? Profit for the year. Profit for the year at what? At average what? Average rate. What is the profit for the year? Which is your what? The the total comprehensive income. I think I will need to what to change it as well. So this should be the word the total comprehensive income. No, you shouldn't because so that you guys will not be carried away. It should be the word the total what? The total comprehensive what income. The total comprehensive what? The total comprehensive income. So my total comprehensive income, so three, total what? Total comprehensive income for the what? For the year, which is five what? 570. Then you divide it by the what? By the average rate. What is your average rate? Your average rate is what? Is 0. What? 65. 0. What? 65. So 570. Then you divide it by what is 0.65. Then that is 877. 877. So the next thing that you're now going to do is to say 7143 minus 5535 minus 877. So that's 731. Now, the next thing, which is your number four, is your what? Do you have a gain or loss on goodwill? There is a gain. So I will say what now? Gain on what? On goodwill. On goodwill translation. Which is coming from what now? From working for, which is 72. And you had everything together. Then that is all about what income was. That's all about income statements. That's all about what there's no any working against the plus 72. Then that is what now 803. So you will now go back now to your solution that so this one is now your working what now? Is now your working. So I cannot say, okay, oh, this is now what? This is now, we'll now call it what? Forest what? So you can call it anything that you like. You can say what? FS gain for the what? For the year. So, so maybe there are some people that are doing what? You are into Forex. So at least you can see that the name is more familiar to you. So Forex what? Forex gain in the year. So that is your working five. And that is 803. So you can now add now, what's our total comprehensive income? So bring your calculator, 803 plus 385 plus 28 plus 1552. So that's what 2,768. 2,768. So this is our what now? Total what? Total comprehensive income. Total comprehensive income. Right. And that is all about the what? The solution. The final thing that you now need to do now is you need to share the what? You need to share the profits. You need to what? You need to share the what? You need to share the profits. You need to what? You need to share the profits. You need to share the profits. Now, you're not going to say what? Attributed. You need to share the attributed. Okay, let's write it for profit after what? After tax. So I have the what? You're going to have the what? The parent, and which is going to be the what? The balance figure. And you're also going to have what? NCI. And this one will now be, well, this one is 1552. Then the last one is what? Attributed what? Attributed, what do we call this? It's no OCI. Attributed what? TOC, total comprehensive income. Write it full in the exam. That you know, say this is how as you used to do it. You write it full. There's nothing like TO. So let me bring this one down. So that is that on that. So let me change the color so that it's not what. Let's go for black. So it's still going to be parent. Got to balance what? The balance figure. And you have what? NCI. I'll show you how you do it. And this one is what? Is 2768. 2768. So what you now need to do now, another very important thing is we now need to do our adjusted what? We need to do our adjusted profits. We need to do our adjusted profit. So meaning now that you need to do another working called what? Working 5. So you need to do what now? You need to do working what? You need to do working 5. So we now need to do what now? We need to do working 5. So we need to do working 5. So this working 5 is now going to be what we call what? Adjusted what? Adjusted profit. And that is what? That is all about what? That is all about income statement. That's the all about the what the working. There's no any other one again once you prepare the adjusted profits. So the first thing that you're going to do is you just say what some of us think of the format, especially what I'm sure that some of you that you'll be listening what you have the opportunity to listen to me at this moment. I am your what? I am your financial reporting lecturer at the what at the lower level. And maybe I also what I also lucky enough that you're also what listening to me right now. So you remember that what there's a consistency in the what in the format as well. And if you look at the what the introduction class, which I have laid out from the word from the beginning of the class. So you see that there's what we call what profit reported. You can check the format that you have with you. You see there. Profit what? Profit reported. So we have what profit reported. Profit reported is that you just go back to that you're working to. In working to, what is the profit? The profit reported is 692, and there's not any adjustment. So in this, sometimes you can be having unrealized profit. So this one is 692. No PUP, nothing. So sometimes we not even show the working cell, but and just so study the word, the format of the adjusted profits. You can always check the word, the introduction class very, very well. So one thing that you just do here is just for us to say that okay, the parent. So this one will now be 20. divided by 100 multiplied by 692. So you can come here and say what? 0.2 multiplied by 692. Then that is what now? 138. So you're not going to say what now? You're not going to say balance figure, which is a parent, 1552 minus 138. So this one will now be 1414. So that's all about that. Then the next one you do your what? The next one you do the, I don't like what. Let me clean this thing. Gain or what? Gain or loss? Gain slash loss for the what? For the year. So this one as well is, you know that, for example, now the subsidiary have what? The subsidiary have OCI. The subsidiary have OCI. The subsidiary have OCI. And the OCI is what now? The OCI is 185. The OCI is what? Is 185. So it's not going to be this what? This 138 that you have in the profit before tax plus 20 divided by 100 multiplied by 185. So this one will now be what? 138 plus, if you do 20%, say 0. What? 0.2 multiplied by 185. That's giving you 37. Then you can now say plus 138. Abi, what am I doing? So let's what now? Let's go back. You know that, for example, now, and that's fine, because this should be what now? 37, 37, 175, 37. So this is 138. So you can now say 138 minus 2768. Then this is 25. There's 25. This is 25. No, this is 25. But there's also another thing. We are using fair value. We are using what? We are using fair value. And if you are using fair value and there's a what? If you are using fair value and there is a gain, if you are using fair value and there's a what? There is a gain. If you are using what? Fair value, there is a gain. Let me clean this so that I think there's a mistake here. Hold on. Let me delete this one. So, hold on. Now, you can see I have 138. One thing that you're not going to do is go back to your working tool. It's coming from there. You can see that the total comprehensive income is what now? Is this. And the only thing in this what? In this total comprehensive income is the 185. So the subsidiary is also going to share from this what? From this 185. So I'm also going to say 20% of what? Of 185. Now, that is that. The next thing that we're now going to do now is, you can see that the subsidiary have a what? A gain. Go back to your, is it now, where's FX gain? You can see that the subsidiary have a gain of 103. The subsidiary have a gain of what? Of 103. So let me do that NCI. So I can say now that we said earlier that from profit for the year, it is 20% having 20 multiplied by 692. There's also another one, OCI what? OCI share. They are also going to collect 20 divided by 100 multiplied by what? That 185. There's also a gain on translation, or let me even call it the name, the FS gain. The what? That is the working what? This one that you're looking at. That is the working 5. So in the working 5, there's also a gain, which is they're also going to take what? 20 divided by 100 multiplied by that 803. So from this first one now, the subsidiary, this is 0.2 multiplied by 692, Abby. That is 138. What happened? This is 138. The next one as well is 0.2. So I can say 0.2, then multiply by 185. Then that's 37. Then I can also say that, well, okay, you also have 0.2 multiplied by 803. That is 161, 161. So if we add everything together now, what do we have? So let's go. 138 plus 37 plus 161. So this is 336. 336. So this is the what? The share of the what? Of the subsidiary. So this is what the subsidiary is taking on overall what? On overall basis. So I can call this working 7. Abby, this is 5, and this is what? 6. NCI, you now call it NCI share of what? Of OCI. So this is working what now? Working 6. So I can delete all this off and call it what? Working. This is working 6. Working 6. And that's 336. So from 336, now see 336 minus 2768. Then that is 2432. 2432. 2432. So that is all from the what? From the income statements. So let me take some few minutes and what and explain it again. Then we'll continue the what? We'll continue the SFP later on. So the first thing you do your group structure. The next thing you do the words. So you do the translation, and you can take a screenshot of the words of the solution as a whole. So this is the whole of it. So let me scroll down. Take a word. So the most important aspect is start from your working 2. So from you do the words, you do the translation, PRL, you do an average rate. Well, the first thing you have to do is well, you need to determine the most valuable currency. You need to determine what the most valuable currency. Then you go on to your working 3, which is share of what? Of profit of the word of associate. Share of profit associates. Then you do the what? After you do your goodwill, which is your working 4. Then your working 5, you determine the error on the forex gain or loss for the year. So if you want to determine the forex gain, this is the format: the closing net asset at closing rate, opening net asset at opening rate, less the total comprehensive income for the year at average. Then you can have a gain or loss on goodwill as well. Then after then, your working 5 is your adjusted profit. So study the format of adjusted profit from your P or L. Study the format of what of adjusted profit in your what in your P&L like you have before. Then the last working is to do your NCI share of OCR. This you do the what you no, I think there's a mistake somewhere. I said profit for the year. I think I've shared the what. Okay, it's cool. Yeah. So fine. So you do the what? You do the 20% of the adjusted profit. And if you ask now that, oh, where is this word 692 coming from? This one should be your working five from your working five. The 692 is what you have, the net that you have in your working five. Then there's also what the subsidiary also has some OCI, so you do 20% of it. And there's also a gain, the FS gain, which is your working five. Then you sum of everything, it means that the share of what NCI as a whole is 300 and what 336. Then the total comprehensive income is 2768. 2768 minus what 336. Then you have what 2432. So this is the whole of everything. All right. This is all of everything. So thank you all. Thank you everyone. And this is where we'll stop. We'll continue in the what? We'll continue in the next section to look at the what? The statement of what? To look at the statement of financial what? To look at the statement of financial position. So this is the solution for what? For AB group, which is the what? The question what? Which is the question one. Which is the what? The question one. So thank you everyone and enjoy the word. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.